Guys, doing another Warframe video. Somebody called me out chat yesterday and asked what a favorite frame was, and to be blunt, there's a lot of them. It really just depends on what missions I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, and also some on team composition. However, if I had to pick one, Chroma is my favorite for DPS. My Harrow and my Trinity are definitely my support. Saren is a high DPS. I hardly ever get to play my Chroma because he's very useful for specific things, which is high durability missions. So, um, let's start up here. He's kind of a pain in the butt to get. So, oh, it won't tell us. Component blueprints are through a new strange quest, which is acquired from the Jupiter to Europa Junction. His neuroptics require elemental pieces, so I want to say you need one from Volt, one from Ember, one from Frost, and I want to say Saren's the other, but I could be wrong. It's been a minute. Let me check here. Volt Neuroptics, Ember Neuroptics, Frost Chassis, and a Saren system. Okay, I was right. Sorry. It's been a minute since I've made him. The reason for that is he has Altering Elemental. So, he's kind of entertaining that way. So, let's take a look. Abilities. Wing Sprout for an additional jump and bullet jump. Woohoo. Not important at all. Spectral Scream. This is elemental, so you can toggle through your elementals, and they all do different effects. Drain per second, 1.8. Damage per second, 1,000. 11 points of range. Pretty straightforward. Elemental Ward is the primary one. So, offensive AoE. Chroma and nearby allies are imbued with defensive energies. Now, I will say, if you want to make Chroma more valid for yourself, it costs the team. Because the only way to change up the build that I've got to make it stronger for you involves dropping your range, which means this doesn't affect your allies as much. So, the heat procs, 516% health boost, AoE 258%, 258 points of damage. Electric does a 258% shield capacity increase and a 26 time damage multiplier. Toxin is holster damage, 90%, holster damage duration, 6.2. Reload status, or reload speed, it's 172%, which is sizable, and then status chance of 129. Predominantly, I use this for the armor because his armor scales into one of his other things. So, I normally run cold, but I mean, if things go wrong, by all means, switch it over to electric and burst down everything. So, for cold, armor, 387% increase, damage multiplier, 7.74. So, we're going to glaze over that for a minute, and we're going to go to this. This is his primary ability. So, when shields are hit, his shields, Chroma and his nearby allies' armor grows stronger. This is an AoE. So, 26 points of range on this sucker. When health takes a hit, weapon damage increases. So, we scroll down. This thing is expensive. We're at 94 points of energy to run this sucker at a 52-second duration. And that's doing what I can to get the durations up. But armor increased 903% with a weapon damage increase at 709%. This does scale with these. So essentially, you can up your armor by, almost 1,300 points. Or 1,300%. Ideally, if you want to do this, you get a Trinity or a Harrow or something that's got energy on it that can spit out, because your costs are expensive. I'm running 75% efficiency, and that's the best I could get it to. So, if you have somebody supplying energy for you, you use this one, you use this one to boost this one, and then you get a Rhino with its Rhino Charge Augment that boosts its Rhino Iron Skin. And pretty soon you've got a Rhino with, like, a 3,000% armor increase and, like, 75k or something ridiculous on its Iron Skin. And then you just need a high DPS nuke. Saren or any of those. The only play you'd ever need that for is high level missions. It's been a long time since I've done high level missions. I mean, like, really high level missions. And they've changed the scaling since then, so I can't even brag about how long we were in there, because it doesn't even make sense to the current game setup. So moving on, your fourth one. Can I get a better view? Not particularly. He's got this thing that runs down his back, and essentially it comes off and floats up off of him. It's basically like think a suit of armor or something. So, once again, it scales off your elemental damage. You gain a movement speed increase because you're not carrying extra weight of this thing, but you get a 50% armor reduction. It spawns out with 20k in health, does basically 1,000 points of damage, and just single target attacks. And then if you need to, you can hit it again, and it summons it back to you. 6 points of energy per second, with an initial at 62. So, I mean, for your first second, you're at 69 points of energy. He's expensive. Totally worth it. Chroma's Effigy, so your fourth, also benefits from your Vex Armor's bonus, which makes sense. Heat Elemental Ward heals allies within range by increasing their base health. We covered that. Toxin Elemental Ward surrounds Chroma with toxic fumes, have chance of inflicting toxic status, also grants nearby allies a reload and holster speed increase. Electric Elemental Ward increases allies' base shields and converts incoming damage into lightning arc discharges. Cold Elemental increases allies' base armor and creates a shield that deflects damage back to enemies. This is the biggest tip in here. Recast this before it wears off, because if it laps, you have to restart. This is one of the only frames that you want to get hit early game, take some health damage. With the high strength build that it's on, it doesn't take many hits to jump up, but if you end up losing it until you're into, level 60, 80, 100 enemies, you're going to get one shot, and it's tricky to rebuild it. So definitely keep a tab on that. If you have to burn energy boosters or whatever, do what you gotta do. Vex Armor's effects are triggered when Chroma shields and health are damaged. Equip mods that increase these values to help reach the bonus limit. Or you can counter that by jacking up your ability strength and not worrying about it. Vex's armor scorn buff scales with armor mods like Steel Fiber, while the Fury buff scales with base damage mods like Serration. So the weapon damage increase coincidentally increases your weapon damage. So if you have mods that boost your weapon damage, it will add to that. Same with his armor. The higher you can get his base armor, the higher that's going to scale. But at what risk? And we covered the rest of that. So make sure that's equipped. I set up my Fullman to go with my Chroma because my Fullman's just too much fun. And I wanted a weapon that was going to do some ridiculous amounts of damage if I had to. So the base on this is only 900 points a shot, or 13.5 on the shotgun mod. But this thing doesn't ever run out of ammo. It's got an internal self-charger. So, I mean, if you're killing infested, which is one of my favorite things to do, then obviously your flamethrower works great. So with that being said, let's go kill infested, because that's just fun. So base damage is 719 points of damage on my flamethrower. This is one of my primary leveling zones just because it's infested. My flamethrower is set up for it.
Distract the infested while a lone Tenno operative hunts for supplies. Set off the alarms to start.
So first things first, we're gonna get some energy flow going here. So if you tap your first, it cycles through on the right there to whatever your setting is. I will pretty much permanently run cold because I like that buff. So we're gonna go ahead and activate this. Throw this down. Reset this. While that's going, we're going to pop off our armor here, start taking hits. I'm already capped out at 973 and 764. That is my cap. He's got low health, but the amount of damage, I mean, I'm pushing a 1000% armor increase and 764 points of weapon damage increase. And it'll just stay that way indefinitely, as long as you keep an eye on your timers. And then we're about ready to run out, so reset that. And then, I mean, you have to hold your first to do it, and then it's just an AoE from you. So you can see it's discharging static arcs and doing other stuff. It's not my favorite ability, that's for sure. I pretty much just run my armor buff. Turn that sucker back off here. Now, if I set my ward up again, you can see I'm kind of covered in lightning here. So that increased my shields by a chunk. I haven't put shields into him because I want to be able to get brought down pretty quickly. If we change that to toxin, clear out this horde really quick. It just carries over while you're changing it out, which I think is interesting. I don't remember if they actually changed it or not, but since we're running heat, as far as your fourth, that just peels off, and now he does damage for you. And I was busy paying attention to that and not paying attention to this, so my stuff all lapsed again. But I mean, it's a pretty consistent energy drain, so you don't want to run that for too long. Anyways, that's Chroma. Ideally, to do a good play, I'd have to grab a party and jump into probably level 70 plus for him to really be effective. So he's kind of a, I need to do something, and I need to make sure either everybody survives or we're going for a long run. There's a few variables. I keep him on hand because his kit just amuses me. With my Fullman, I think over my 6 shots, it's like 1.4 million in damage or something. I ran the numbers at one point to see how high I could scale that up with him. But I mean, an 800% weapon damage increase isn't anything to laugh about, that's for sure. Technically, I can get his strength higher, but like I said, that comes at a cost I mean, I do try to support my teams, and that comes at a cost where there's no supporting the team. That's a all me buff. So currently, I've got him set up at 207% duration, 75 efficiency, 145 range, and 258 strength. Now, if I switch over to this, I may have put narrow-minded on here, screwed my range, brought my duration up by another 73 points. Or, sorry, 66 points. I can do math. It's early still. We've had late nights. We've been out on the water. And strength's at 258, so that's the same. The biggest change was, you lost 100 points worth of duration, and you gained 70 points over here. Now, this does free up a mod slot, which I haven't finished out this build. So, to be honest, I would have to throw another Forma onto something, which would probably go to my steel fiber, which I should probably do, and then re-level that so I can shuffle another thing around. But, I mean, that extra 66% adds up. So, you can be a little bit selfish with it if you want, and this does free up a little bit more if you wanted to try and boost that closer to that 300 mark. So, that's kind of that. You can also throw adaptation on. The damage will still count, but if you need it to lapse, then you're not going to get as fast as the benefits. So, like I said, I'm really only running steel fiber on him just because I need to get hit early and then just keep it up. So, that's that for my Chroma. If you guys have specific builds or anything that you want me to cover, or weapons or anything, just let me know. Leave comments on the videos or catch me. Normally I'm streaming in the morning because it just works better with the family schedule. I got 3 kids and they're up and at it. So, after they're fed breakfast, they're happy to go for a little while. It gives me an opportunity to do some streaming. Otherwise, Mondays and Tuesdays are normally my days that I try to get some more done. And then the rest of my week is crazy. So I do what I can when I can. I'm hoping to get that back on a better schedule at some point. But for now, yeah. And then my channel names are all the same, as is my username for all my games. So if somebody needs something, you can always track me down on the game too. Anyways, that's it for Chroma for this morning. So I'm going to jump off. You guys have a good one.